So the C8 Corvette was the biggest challenge that Trackspec has faced, but it was a challenge that we were ready for. So over the years, building cages and developing this business, we built cages for all the generation Corvettes, C5, C6, C7, and really try to do something different with how we design and how we build, and just the ideas that we have. And we were able to accomplish that really well with some first to market things. When it came down to the C8, we had to have a completely different way of thinking, being that it was the first mid-engine car that we've done for a true bolt-in cage. There's a lot of things on the market that we saw that we just weren't happy with or didn't like. And for us, we needed to design something different and better. And when you ask yourself, when we bring a car in, the first thing we do is we ask ourselves, what does it need? What do we need to do? And most importantly, what's the right thing to do in design? And once you ask those questions to yourself, as a design team, engineer, and race car drivers, the answer is really simple. And sometimes the simplest answers isn't always the easiest way to go about building something. So the C8 Corvette was a design for us that just taxed all of our expertise in every area. We pulled from everything that we've learned over the last 5 or 10 years with engineering design, fabrication, CAD design, 3D printing. We put it all together to develop this cage into something that just doesn't exist. So the design for this cage for the C8 Corvette is truly a culmination of everything we've learned over the last few years in building this fabrication business and racing and being out there in the track and just really being in the mix. And things like designing using CAD, 3D scanning, 3D printing to have the best fitment, and just overall structural design. And truly sometimes do the basic things is do the right thing. Bring the cage to the frame. And that sometimes is the most challenging thing to do, is doing the right thing. But in our business, that is the only answer that we have. You know, with Kevin, he's an absolute expert with cage design. And we're super proud of the things that we've all learned together. We've bought the best equipment we can. We've got the best people that we can have with CNC machinery and CAD design, scanning, and we put it all together to bring to market the best cage that the C8 Corvette has. There's a couple challenges with the C8 Corvette that we encountered. One of which is mounting the main hoop. The floor being in a C8 Corvette, or just all the generation, C5, C6, C7 Corvette, there is not a good place to put the cage to mount to a structural frame area. So using the experience that we've had building cages for the aluminum frame cars, we were able to develop a process that is unique to Trackspec, where we are able to design billet aluminum plates. And really, that gives us the ability and the freedom, the design freedom, to do the right things, to make it structural, to mount it to the frame, give it a landing place that is absolutely the strongest point in the car. So that's one of the challenges that we had in the C8, was that being the floor is not structural, we were able to take the things that we've learned in the past, design them to just a different level that we've ever done, and design a mounting position that is world class. One of the other things that we found that was a challenge for the C8 was this was our first mid-engine vehicle. And if you look at the market, the easy answer to mount the rear down bars was to go straight down into an area where, in our opinion, is just not structural, inside the cockpit. That itself gives a couple problems. When you do that, it clutters up the interior. There's not a lot of space, for one. Two, it's not structural. So we made the conscious decision to say, okay, what's the right thing to do for this cage? This is a world-class car. We need a world-class product for it. And the decision was made between Kevin and I to go through the bulkhead in the rear, and we are the first ones that we know of to actually go through the rear bulkhead and into the engine area and mount to the shock tower area, which is one of the strongest points of the car. So once we made that decision, everything else was easy. The hard decision was made, and we just took what we knew and what we learned in the past and put it all together in one and came up with what we feel is a great design. The packaging of this car is, again, completely different than what we faced in the past. There is not a lot of room in the cockpit for the driver. And again, one of the challenges of this car is driver space, driver comfort, driver headroom, right? So we picked a smaller tube diameter, but we increased the wall thickness, and we also are using 4130 chromoly, so it's much stronger than an 1.75" DOM. By doing so, that gives us a couple things. That gives us some versatility in the design. We were able to push the bars out even further. It gives you more headroom, more driver room, more seat space, and at the same time improves rear visibility for the driver so that we don't have this clunky, massive bar in the car. It's well designed, refined, and in our opinion, very elegant at the same time. So by using 3D scanning technology, we are able to build this entire cage in the computer. And that gives us the ability to be very accurate in what we do and how we do it. One of the priorities that we have when we build a cage, Kevin's really good with this, is the customer experience. That's one of the most important parts of our priorities for when we design and build a cage, is to the customer experience. And with this cage, with the billet aluminum mounts that fit only in one area, you drop them in and they hug the frame perfectly. That gives you your landing spot, so there's no guesswork there. So once you land the designed plates into the car, it's just as simple as drilling holes and mounting the hardware to the frame of the vehicle and setting up the cage inside the car. We've done all the hard work to take a lot of the guesswork out of installation of this cage. So for what it is, for the structure that it adds and how it mounts, it's probably one of the easiest cages to install on the market. The cage installation itself would take roughly 2 to 4 hours long. And then depending on how detailed somebody wants to be with trimming plastics in the interior, that could take another couple hours in addition also to that. The clients that are looking for this product, they are looking for the best product on the market. They want the best fitting product, most well-engineered product, and the highest quality product. You know, we ask ourselves the question, what does this car need? And, you know, from a cage perspective and a harness bar perspective. And one of the things we noticed is that there's a lot of different seat heights out there, depending on the seat that the person installs. And when this car came into the shop, it had another brand harness bar in there that was at the completely wrong height for the driver. So it was essentially doing nothing for the driver. If he, in the event, if he did have a rollover, then the belts would not do anything for him. So we came up with the idea is, why isn't there an adjustable harness bar out there on the market? This car deserves the best, and it deserves adjustability, and it deserves something that we can come up with that gives adjustability to the driver and the freedom to change things as needed. So that was an extreme challenge for us, that we've never done an adjustable harness bar, but using, again, the technology that we've done, the scanning, and the experience that we've had, we've been able to develop something that is truly unique to the market. You know, the mindset that we have at Trackspec is being able to accomplish things that others can't. And I think we truly live by that way of thinking in the way that we design. Every day we come in here and manufacture things. If it's not right, we do it over again, 100 times over, until we get it right. So at Trackspec, we strive to provide excellence in design, engineering, and fabrication, and we're proud to offer that to our customers.